Alright, hello guys, it's Joseph Cesori here. Some of you guys may know me as Running as Scissors on some of the forums like Knife Edge Software. A lot of you guys have seen my schemes and you guys have had a lot of requests. You guys have asked me a lot of questions on how to do them and how I get the schemes to be so good. So I'm going to have a video on here explaining on how I do all the work and all the things that are needed on it. Okay, so first thing that you're going to need is an airplane that you want to make the scheme on, of course. My favorite airplane on here to do it is the 104-inch Extreme Flight Extra 300. I like the airplane, how it looks. I have one in real life as well, so it gives me a good idea on what I'm doing. And another reason why I like it, as here I'll show you in a minute, is the fuselage and the rudder all have one piece. So the rudder is not a whole separate piece from the fuselage. It's just all one piece, and everything's all simple and laid out. So that's the big reason why I keep doing that scheme on that airplane so much. I have a really good edit on it as well, which is also on the swap pages for those of you who are interested. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is get a stock scheme. As you can tell here, I have way too many schemes, like always. So I'm going to start off with the red scheme, which I don't have the original one for some reason. It just gets really weird. But I have the red one here, which is just a color swap of the blue and red. So that's pretty simple. So once you have the stock scheme that you're going to figure out in the airplane, you're going to want to find the scheme that you're going to make the scheme on. So you can do a couple Google searches. The big thing to search up is RC 3D plane schemes, just like that. A lot of them, you have to be careful on which ones you get. Some of them are sized way too small, and when you go to blow them up, which I'll explain here what to do later on how to do that, it gets really grainy and it's just not really good quality. So that's just kind of a big default for that. So what we're going to want to do, I have a whole website that I go on. It's a gentleman in Germany that has a bunch of schemes. You guys will see a lot of schemes I've made on here. The krill scheme, the granite Ito scheme, which will load here in just a second. This scheme right here, you guys have seen me do the fear metal, which is the P51. You see me do the krill metal and a few other ones. So on here, there's plenty. I'll put the link in the video for those of you who want to try some. The website's all in German, but next to our wonderful friend called Google, we have Google Translate, which automatically translates the page. So today I'm going to be doing one of these schemes on here, MXS scheme. Something I've liked a lot is the Gernot Bruckmann MX2 scheme, which is right here. So we're going to have a little showing on how to do it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to save this image. So you go here, save image as. I already have it saved on my computer. From there, it goes onto your folder. It goes right to downloads for mine, which I have way too many stuff. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to open up GIMP. That's the program I've been using. It's free. You can download it. It runs great most of the time. And first thing you're going to want to do is hit open. You're going to go, it goes right to pictures for me. So as you guys can see, I have a scheme right here. And I have it opened up here. So what we're going to do from here is we are going to go on view and we're going to zoom in. We're going to zoom it in just to fill into the window. And then from the window, we're going to copy and cut it. So we're basically just going to draw on the things that we want to keep, like the fuselage. So it's going to be a little bit more fine. The more dots you have, the more defined it's going to be. But in all honesty, in my opinion, that kind of changes because the airframes are so different in comparison when you have them. So as long as you have the general overview and it's a little bit larger on the real flight file, you should be good. So the more points is the better. It's a little bit more defined. If you have a situation like the canopy right here, you're going to want to go around that and just fill it in, which I'll explain how to do with the color that it has, so that way the gray doesn't show up and it just looks all ugly. Alright, so from the last point to the point what you're doing, my favorite point is right here from the point on the bottom of the spinner to the top of the spinner. You're going to want to hit right click, then you're just going to have select, and you're going to go right here to form path. It should be a little pink square on the left. Shortcut is Shift V, but I like to just do that anyways. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create our own transparent layer, so that way when we put it over the scheme, it doesn't all show this, it just shows the fuselage. So you're going to right click again, and then you're going to go to layer, and then from layer you're going to go on the little sidebar here, and there's going to be a, oh, you see I already did this too soon. So thankfully our little undo button, undo paths to selection, we're going to do a quick right click, we're going to go to layer, we're going to go to transparency, still not there. Alright, this is a side thing I do not like about GIMP. Alright, so before we start all of this, then let's go ahead and go here. We're going to want to go right click. We are going to go to layer. And what you want to do is you want to add an alpha channel. The alpha channel creates it so it's clear on there. So from there, we'll just, I just added that. Redo, path selection. Okay, so there we go. I just went back to what I did by the redo button. You have to add an alpha channel, so basically, whenever you delete it, it just completely goes. Okay, so now we're going to just get this part, so this is all there is. So we're going to hit Control, and I think we do I. For invert, what Control I does is, instead of when I hit delete like I just did right there, instead of deleting just the fuselage, it deletes everything else except the fuselage. So make sure that you hit Control I. Alright, so there, we're going to go just to save. You don't have to save it as anything, just save it as whatever it was. And it's saved now for that. So now I'm going to go back to the scheme. I'm going to hit Save Color Scheme as the stock scheme that I had on here. And I'm going to name it GBMX2. Okay, so now we're going to go back to GIMP. We're going to hit Open again. We're going to go to Document, Real Flight 7. That's the real flight I'm using. This should work on all the other real flights. Not scenery, oops. We want to go to Vehicles, and then to Color Schemes. And then the first one that I should have popped up right here is GBMX2. Something to note is that sometimes it has a little bit more than just one. So sometimes it'll be S or underscore S, then .tga underscore n.tga. You just want the file name that you have it, .tga. That's all you want. So we're going to hit Open. And then right here, you'll have the 104 scheme open. So then we're also going to want to go back to View. And we're going to go to Zoom, which fit image in window, so it's a little bit bigger. Here's the important part that a lot of people get confused on. We're going to go to Open Layers right here. I'll go ahead and get the camera off this setup I have here. What we are going to want to do is right here you got to make sure that you go right here to Open Layers. Not Open Location, my bad. Open Layers. When you go to Open Layers, you're going to want to go back to Pictures, and then the first one that should be there, for example, mine's Download 3. I'm just going to hit Open, and it's just going to open just like that. So I'm going to put this back on the tripod really quick. This might take a quick second. I'm going to do this, and everything is going to be there. Alright, and that should be good enough. Just warning, camera might fall over. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to go to the Scale tool, Alright, what we're going to do is we're just going to make it as big as we want. So the nice thing about being transparent is that it shows how much bigger it's getting. So it can get taller and also wider. So I'm going to do the fuselage right here, and as I mentioned, it has the rudder on the scheme. Some of them do not have the rudder when you open up the scheme for the real flight model. Again, that's a reason why I like using the 104 Extra. And then we're going to go drag this down until it basically fits the parameters of the 104 Extra, because that 104 Extra fuselage is the fuselage that matters in this situation. So this needs to be a little bit wider. Also needs to be a little taller. And you can kind of keep moving down a little bit. Right here there's a tool at the, like right at the right corner, which allows you to kind of move around a little bit if it gets too big. Okay, so right here is about the general size, but as we can tell, it's curved down a little bit too much. So what we're going to want to do, first we're going to hit scale. It takes a second just to show it to scale it up as we wait. And then after it scales, we're going to want to rotate it. It just rotates right on its center axis. So we're just going to rotate it about 3 degrees. Rotate. Now it takes a minute for it to load. My computer's just a little bit slower than others, but you just got to make sure that you don't skip any steps. The important thing, as long as it rotates the right direction. So I rotated it a little bit too much, so we'll rotate it back about half a degree. So we'll take another second or two. Alright, there we go. So that's rotated enough. So then we can start rescaling it again. It's a little bit too wide. So we're just going to kind of scrunch it in a little bit there. And as it take more time to scale, just remember, I get through schemes really fast, which sometimes it's fine, but other times it's really not a good thing. It's better just to take time if you really want it to be a quality scheme that you did. So yeah, alright, here we go. So here is the fuselage right here. So there's a little bit of overlap on it. So you can still see a little bit where it's kind of overlapping a little bit. What you'll want to do is you're going to want to layer back down to the previous scheme. So you're going to want to hit page down on your control tab. Well, actually, I take that back. Before you do that, go back to page up. You're going to want to get the color of the scheme that you're doing. So this little droplet tool called Color Picker, you're just going to click on that blue right there. You can click on a few places just to make sure it's consistent. What I like to do, some people like using the paint tool or the ink tool. I prefer using the paint tool. Well, I take it back. I prefer using the ink tool because you can adjust the size on it. And it's kind of a more free range type model. So basically we're just going to come over here. Make sure you're on the previous layer so that way you don't go over the stuff on the layer that you're doing. So if you accidentally go over a different color or something, it won't look all screwy and everything. So I'm going to size it up a little bit so that way it goes on a little bit better. As we can see, that's exactly what we did not want to do. We want to go back to page down. Alright. Because you see I can color all over I want now, and it's not going to go over the scheme I just made. So we're just going to go over here. I'm going to go over the cowling a little bit. Carefully, not over the elevator. It's not too much of a big deal, but still don't want to get it too bad. So right there, and then we got to get a little bit on this rudder right here. And that's pretty much it right there. So we just did the fuselage. Now we're going to go to File. This is the big part where people get really confused. You're going to hit Export As. You're just going to, it's going to have it all right here. It should be all set up. All you have to do is hit Export. You have a name file, TGA already exists. You want to replace it. You want to hit Replace. Then Export to Image as TGA. You want to make sure that you export as a TGA image. You're going to hit Export. Then we're going to go back to Real Flight. We're going to open. Actually, I'm going to open using Aircraft because we can, no, not Quick Edit. We're going to go to Select Aircraft on the regular page. So that way you can scroll around and see the scheme a little bit better. And then as this loads, because no one uses this at all, so it takes a really long time, we're going to see scheme pop up on the scheme we just made. One thing to note is that it takes a little bit longer. Okay, there we go. So right here we have the original. We're going to go to color scheme select. I'm going to go to GB MX2. And then there's going to be an image that pops up as creating DDS. What creating DDS means is that it's just making the file on RealFlight, so that way it presents. It just takes loading. It only takes if it takes longer than 5 minutes, I don't know what to tell you, but okay, here we go. So right here, as we can tell, here's the fuselage. It missed the rudder for some reason. It went on the other side, which I've never seen that done before. But we're just going to do something really quick. So it looks fine on the fuselage, but we're just going to go ahead and, since that's a little sketchy, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go back page up. We're going to go over the layer that we had, and we're going to hit, well, we're going to want to, what I like to do is I just like to go back over it using, again, the path tool, which is to cut it. Just remember, the more points that you have on there, the more defined radiuses are on your scheme. As long as you have the general overview, just remember anything that's inside of it will also transfer onto the next onto the transfer when you duplicate this layer. So if you have a little bit extra blue or a little bit of an extra thing, it's going to show up also, because we're just doing the whole thing. All right, so we got that basic, the basic shape of that down. We're going to hit select, form path, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to layer. We're going to hit duplicate layer. It should just take a second there. Hopefully this works. Yep. All you have to do is just drag this down right here. Say if it's something on the wings, you just go over the wings, and then you just use the flip tool. You can flip it horizontal, you can flip it vertical, you can do whatever. Sometimes you'll have to adjust the angle it's at. I know for the bottom fuselage on this, on the 104, it changes a little bit, but that's no need to be worried. You just have to change the angle a little bit. So have a little bit of overhang on here again. What we're going to want to do is just go page down twice. I like to just double get the box and click it really quick so that way it takes off the highlighted portion. We're going to go to the ink tool. Make sure that we're on the original layer so that way it doesn't go all over everywhere. We're just going to color this part blue right here where the red is showing. Same right here on the rudder. Just make sure you don't get too crazy with it and it goes way too many places. And then there we go. There's that right there. We're going to go back to file. We're going to hit export as. We're going to GB MX2. We're going to hit replace. We're going to hit export. And then we just go right here to RealFlight. Color scheme, so you can just go on the regular net. We have both sides done. GB MX2, and it should just say creating DDS. And then just going to take a minute from here. Then once this gets done, your scheme should pop up on what we have done so far. So right there, we have the fuselage scheme already done. I'll go ahead and fly a little bit on here just to demonstrate it. The only thing we have left to do is the wings and the elevators. Cyforce generators, you can do whatever color you want, at least on this airplane. I'll probably end up making them white or blue or red, whichever flows best with the wing scheme, probably blue. But right here you can see I had the fuselage scheme done. On the 104, just note, this bottom part that's right there, that's still red, you'll have to go back. I'll go back to GIMP on here. It's this top little portion right up here, so you just color that blue like the bottom, and then when you get back on it, it should be replaced. So yeah, I hope this tutorial helped, and if you guys have any questions, just let me know. And thank you for watching. Wing scheme should be simple. I'll post this model. I'll post the color scheme on swap pages. Again, my username is running with scissors. So for those of you who want to download the scheme once this you watch this video, it'll be up. And I'll also have the link to the place where I got the scheme from. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions, just go ahead and Facebook me. I have Flying Giants, Jay Cezur. RC Groups is Joseph Cezur 101. So yeah, just let me know if you guys need any help, and happy to help out. So thank you.